we just like to make these available and just a fun thing so people can kind of see what they're all about. So my name is Steve Akley. I own a company called the ABV Network, for those of you that aren't familiar with me. And I know there's plenty that were involved in this that bought bottles just through like the Juice Club in Cincinnati was a big deal. I know that the Four Roses Mellow Moments Club also came through and bought a bunch of these folks from there. So people who didn't necessarily know who I am or what we do, but just to give you an idea, my company is a bourbon media company. We do podcasts, we do an e-magazine, we do some movies. We've got one released, another one coming out very soon. We've got TV shows and pretty much anything related to media we like to do. So we're trying to do a little bit of everything, and check us out at abvnetwork.com. My co-host for tonight's event is a woman by the name of Katie Garrett. She's not only a friend of mine, she's an associate. She has a show on the ABV Network called the Bourbon Betty. So, hey, Katie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really well, actually. I finally get to sit down today and drink some bourbon with you guys, so I'm thrilled to be here.
Absolutely. So kind of the star of the show, of course, is this bad boy right here, this Four Roses single barrel. It is the pick from Old Hickory Whiskey Bar. And we're going to talk about that in just a second, though. For right now, we want to talk just a little bit and get to know Katie a little bit. So, Katie, you are a bar owner of two bars in Pensacola, Florida. Tell us about the two bars and what the difference between those two are.
Absolutely. So my first bar is Old Hickory Whiskey Bar, and that is what you guys are seeing behind me. This is our lovely whiskey library. We have around 700 different labels of whiskey. That number fluctuates quite a bit depending on limited releases that come out and just new products hitting the market. We've been open for 7 years. We do craft cocktails as well, but obviously the star of the show is the whiskey. We've done quite a few different barrel picks. This is just one of, I think we're probably around 12 now. Nope, that's actually more because we use Buffalo Trace in our house signature cocktails. So we go through those quite often. So I want to say I probably picked about 18 barrels when it's all said and done.
Okay.
But my second bar is new. We opened it at the end of September of 2019, and that bar is called the Kennedy. And it is a modern cocktail bar with a twist from the 60s, hence the name, the Kennedy. And Old Hickory is also named after Andrew Jackson. I have a thing for dead presidents. I am a historian by nature. That's what my degree is in. So I'm a historian turned bar owner, which is an interesting twist. Not sure how I got here, but I can't complain that I'm here now.
Yeah. And, you're very humble in your approach, but, what you're doing there, Katie, is pretty special. Because when I think of a resort town like Pensacola, Florida, which is a place that I like to vacation to, it's a place that I love to go. I think of rum bars and things like that, but you don't. You've got one of the best whiskey bars, and it's been recognized as such in the U.S. And the Kennedy, while not open that long, will certainly hit the mark on best cocktail bars, I'm sure, because one of the things that you do that is different than so many people is you don't hire bartenders that it's just kind of their second gig and they're working another job and maybe pick up some shifts in the evening. You actually hire career professionals and you invest in those people. So talk to a little bit about some of the things that you do for your employees, your bartenders, that really makes them, so loyal to you.
Absolutely. That is probably my favorite part of my job that I never saw coming was the type of environment I would create for people. We are a tight-knit group. We call ourselves the Whiskey Fam. And if you listen to the Bettys, I have talked several times, we have matching tattoos. So I have a bonded tattoo. Several of us have them. And, it's important to me that they know what they're doing is a career. Anyone can step behind a bar and make a rum and Coke or something along that line. But when you have 700 whiskeys and you need to be knowledgeable on all of those whiskeys, that's something you can't just drop in and do and work for a couple hours and go home and get away with that. People know their whiskey, and when they come in, they want to talk to them about their whiskey. So for us as a company, it's extremely important that they are educated, and we take our staff on distillery tours. Several of them have gone to Kentucky with us, done barrel picks with us up there, barrel picks here in-house. We go to Tales of the Cocktail, the Bourbon Affair, the Bourbon Festival. So training is extremely important for us to show not only our guests when they come in that we take it seriously, but to our staff that we take their career seriously as well. And maybe one day down the road when they physically don't want to bartend anymore, we want them to have the tools to where they can go out into the world, maybe work as a brand ambassador or, work for a distribution company of sorts if they still want to be in this industry.
Yeah. And Katie, the amazing thing to me is you don't come from this background. That's not your family business or anything like that. This is something you did on your own. And at the age of 25, is that how old you were when you opened up Old Hickory?
Yes.
Yeah.
25.
Yeah. That's just crazy to me. The
It is
fact that
crazy to me to even think about
to
that
think
now.
back. Yeah.
What?
The Katie of today, if you could go back and talk to 25-year-old Katie, you might say, don't do this because it was a lot of
Oh,
work. Wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah. If I had known what all this entailed, I mean, I would hope I would still do it. But man, 25-year-old, thank God I was a little naive back then because I just
Uh-huh.
dove right in. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a cool place, great ambiance and all that. So, if you're going to Pensacola or a lot of people go to a lot of the other places around there. So any of those towns, make sure you stop in and go to Katie's place because you also never know who you're going to see because you've had people stroll in there like Jimmy Russell comes walking in and, and other
Yeah.
people from the bourbon industry, right?
Oh yeah, Jimmy's probably my favorite person. I mean, I shouldn't say probably. He is my favorite person that has ever been in Old Hickory. He did a Friday afternoon class, 1 p.m. And I thought in my head, are people going to come to this? I'm not really sure. People are at work, and it was a free class, and it sold out in 10 minutes. So I mean, it is Jimmy Russell after all. But yeah, we've had Dave Pickerel has been here. We all love Dave, and he did a staff training for us a few years back, and I've had Colin with Kings County. He just on vacation came down here and hung out with us for a while. So we're pretty lucky. We get to see some really awesome people in our industry visit us.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, where do you think everything has to be phrased and framed these days by when things get back to normal? But, when things do get back to normal, where do you think you're going to be going from here, Katie? Is there more bars in the future or is it just, continuing to grow with where you're at? What's the deal?
Right. Well, it's funny because I just opened up the Kennedy,
You said
just a couple
September?
months ago,
Yeah.
six
Yeah.
months ago. And of course, my head is always working to the next one. And I joke because I just got some new tattoos right before all of this went down. And so my first one's 1821 on my index finger, and that's for Old Hickory. That was the year that Andrew Jackson became the territorial governor of the state of Florida here in Pensacola. And then my next one is 1961, and that's the year that John Kennedy became president for my second part of the Kennedy. And I laugh that I have 2 more fingers, so I got room for 2 more bars. How I put it. So we'll see. I've already got my wheels turning for the next one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. We won't have you share anything because you got to keep that stuff a secret. But it's good to know there's things potentially in the works. So that's
Yes,
cool. So
absolutely.
so this barrel pick, let's talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that because there's different ways to do barrel picks. How did this one go down? Is this something where you went to Kentucky? Did you go to Four Roses? Did they send a kit down? How did this one work?
This one I actually went to Four Roses. I was at the Cox Creek facility when I did it. So it was January of 2018,
Okay.
and there was snow. It was very cold. This Florida girl was not used to that at all. So, but it was gorgeous and definitely stuck out as one of my favorite trips.
Okay. Okay. So tell us a little bit about the pick itself. What do you remember about that day? Was like Al Young there? Or did you get to see anybody like that?
No, Al was not there. I did
Darn.
not get to do it with Al. I wish I would have been able to. We all know he is a legend. I've got to do some pretty cool stuff with him at Four Roses, but not for this pick, no. But when I got there, we walked into, if you've been to the Cox Creek facility and you see where they do the private selections, it's this room off by itself, or a standalone building, I should say. And I walked in and they had 10 barrels laid out. And I
Hmm.
thought, oh God, am I going to have to pick between 10 barrels? Because if you know me as a person, I am a very indecisive individual. And giving me 10 options was going to be quite a feat to select from. So, yeah, we pretty much just opened each barrel up, filled up our glasses, and started tasting. And
Okay.
whew, it took quite a while for me to be able to go through it all.
Yeah. And who was with you that day
It
besides
was
you?
Byron Banks. So he is I believe, the Southeast Regional Manager. So he was
Okay.
helping me select my barrel that day. Yeah.
Okay. But pretty much the only representative from the company was you then. So you're literally
Yeah.
making this pick. So that's pretty cool.
hmm Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just me on that trip. It was a quick trip up. I actually selected my Knob Creek Rye barrel that same trip. So
Okay.
uh, I know that there's,
That's one we've got coming up. So
yeah,
that's
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 when we
pretty
got
cool.
coming up. So that was done on the same quick trip up to Kentucky.
Okay. Okay. So let's open this up and talk a little bit about it.
Yeah,
So
I say we dive in because I'm the kind of person I
yeah,
hate when they don't tell you to go ahead and start drinking your whiskey and you're just sitting there and you're waiting and all you
waiting.
want to do is try it. Yeah, so I'm a full believer in jumping right in. So I already have mine poured, Steve, but
Okay,
I don't think
I say mine because if anybody listens to our shows, they know we're big into the cork pop. And this hasn't been open, so I'm thinking it's going to have a good cork pop. So here we go. Pretty good though. I got a little bit
that
of a
was a good
slosh
one.
there. I was my form was down there, a little sloppy.
I know I probably won't get one, but I have to try because it is what we do on the show. So let's see.
True. Okay.
It's a well-loved bottle.
It's a
You can
well-loved
tell
bottle. I'm going to
because at
give
the
it to
very
you
end.
though. I'm going to give it to you with the slosh that I had
Oh, well,
there.
thank you,
So that
sir.
was
I
good.
appreciate that. And
Kevin
I did
Rose.
see that
Thanks for
little
helping.
message that someone
Yeah.
said if I need help locally with the next pick.
Uh,
That was good. We're
yes,
always doing them, so you never know.
that's true. That's true.
So yeah.
All right.
So
So
this.
let's what do we got here, Katie? As you.
So for me, I get like a soft amber color on
Mm-hmm.
mine. It's really hard to figure out in the lighting that we're all in different lighting right now, so everyone's probably
Right.
going to get a different color. So for me, I always like to hold it over a white piece of paper. So I have one over here with me now, but I get a soft amber, a very golden hue.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me is it's on the lighter scale for what I normally am drinking, but I feel like that's to me classic of Four Roses.
Right.
So
Comes.
for the nose,
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone here, I assume, knows how to taste whiskey. You guys did buy a bottle, and you're on this tasting with us for a reason, because you're obviously big bourbon drinkers. But something that I honestly didn't learn till a little while into doing this is to smell from each side of your glass, because it changes daily depending on how your sinuses are acting, if which nostril is going to be stronger for scent.
Okay.
I did not know that. So for me, I really can smell the proof on this. It's only 106 proof.
Yeah.
And for me, that's pretty low. I'm a high proof drinker. I like pretty much anything over 110 is where I like it. So for me, this is softer, but I still get that nice aggressive nose. What about you, Steve?
Yeah. It's definitely, and it's got a lot going on there. So you definitely get deep caramel notes to that. It's also sweet too. There's a sweetness to it that I'm getting, which is really cool. Yeah, it smells fantastic, Katie.
Thank you. Hopefully you like the way it tastes even
All
better.
right, let's
Well,
see what we.
on to that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I like to judge my tastings, that first sip
Mm-hmm.
is always more powerful
Right.
and it takes over that palate, especially if it's your first sip of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like to think about what that first sip tastes like and see how that changes into my next sip. And for me on this one, I got a very bright flavor. It definitely always, it's acidic for sure, or not acidic, the alcohol, the effervescence of it really takes over. But I got bananas,
Mm-hmm.
like fresh bananas out of that. And then when I take my second sip, I got a lot of, more like banana nut bread. That to me is when the maple flavor came through, the sugar components started to come in, and that mouthfeel really took over.
Yeah, I can definitely see the banana nut bread thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
You're right on there.
And that's one of my favorite flavor components when I taste a whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
I love when I get that fresh, like baked banana bread flavor profile.
Remind him of the mash bill, he says. It is
Yeah, so we can go over that.
sure.
So this pick is an OBSV, and Four Roses is kind of confusing. So if you don't really follow along with what Four Roses does, I can quickly go down with that. I'm sure most of you, I know Steve mentioned, and we have a lot of people from like the Mellow Moments Club and stuff.
Yeah.
But just for people who might not know, they have 10 different recipes that they do use for all their different products. And that's going to be 2 different mash bills, and then it's 5 different yeast strains. So for this one, the OBSV, it's actually the same recipe as they used for their regular single barrel that they put on the market, their 100 proof single barrel. And when I tasted these, I went blind. I knew nothing until the very end. And I wanted to do that on purpose. I didn't want to be skewed on picking some very random recipe that wasn't super popular. I didn't want to be skewed on selecting something just for its age statement. I wanted to pick something that I felt was unique, but also was still expected as a Four Roses flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that I ended up picking an OBSV was interesting to me because I guess I really wanted to go with that well-known Four Roses flavor profile. What I liked about the fact that I picked that was if you take our single barrel and you put it next to their regular single barrel offering, which is 100 proof, ours is 106 proof, you can see how those subtle differences actually play a part just through proof. So the complexities of the bourbon, to me, it really shows how different every barrel can be for everybody. So because ours is the barrel strength single barrel.
Mm-hmm. And Katie, we've also, as you know, this is a lot of people that are really into Four Roses specifically,
Mhm.
and they're even wanting the front label information. So if you don't mind
Yeah,
sharing some of that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I pulled this cool graphic because it's always, like I said, if you're not a big Four Roses person, it's kind of hard to understand. So on the front of our bottle, when you get your bottle, you can see this skinny label here.
Mm-hmm.
It goes over the warehouse locations. So it'll tell you where your warehouse number is, and then it will tell you what side of the warehouse. So we took from warehouse E, and we're from the north side of the warehouse. And then it's going to give you your RIC number. So our RIC number is 36. And then it
Okay.
gives you your tier number, which is number 1 for us. And then your barrel location. Ours is C, which means it was the third barrel behind in line.
Okay.
So that's where ours is located. And then on our side label here, where it has our Old Hickory brand, we did select the 10 years and 10 months, and it does have the OBSV. So if you're wondering what that OBSV mash bill is, it's 60% corn, 35% rye, and 5% malted barley, and that uses the V yeast strain, and that one is known for its delicate fruit, spicy, and creamy flavors. So for me, that creamy really hit with the finish on it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, Steve, how you felt about your finish, but I got the mouthfeel was very creamy, but it also finished very clean.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't linger to the point where it got in the way. It makes me want to continue sipping
Right.
because it doesn't linger so long. You're like, I want to taste that again.
Yeah.
So it might make it a little dangerous, but
The heat is just perfect though, Katie. So George asked about that. How does it drink? Does it drink like it's a higher proof? And I would say yes. I mean, so 106 is same thing, Katie. We're both like the high proof stuff.
yeah.
But this one drinks so nice. It's very warming, and that will stick with you. So it feels good all the way down, and just kind of gentle warmth. So it's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, and for me, I didn't get on that first sip. A lot of times, even if it's a bonded bourbon, so even 100 proof whiskeys, you get a lot of burn.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't, to me, I didn't get that at all with this. Even on that very first sip, it is very smooth, but it's still powerful. It doesn't lose any complexity to me.
Right. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So that is what you guys will be expecting. And again, how this works is Eventbrite, of course, is the event company that we utilize for this. They pay in 5 business days. So I have to get Katie the money where that she can send that out. So we just want to be upfront that it'll take about 5 days. The day it hits my statement, I'm getting it to Katie immediately, and then she's going to get your bottles in the mail. So I just don't have the sort of bank account to pay for 60 bottles up front. So
Hey, we're all
even though
living on
I
time
know it's
right
coming
now.
and it's good for it, but I just don't have that much money. So as soon as I get it to Katie, then she will be shipping your bottles. So just want to be very upfront about this and all the other events that we're doing. They're going to follow the same suit.
Mhm.
They will be with it. Will they get like tracking numbers and stuff like that, Katie, or
Yes,
just what you have?
absolutely.
Okay.
We ship through FedEx, so I'm going to actually have a nice little assembly line with some of my workers, and we're going to package all y'all's bottles up real nice. And I don't know if you can see on my lapel, I'm sure it's backwards for y'all, but we have some cute pins, and you might get a little surprise in your box with an OHWB pin. So
I did.
yeah, I love
I'm
these
just
things.
saying.
Yes, you've got one.
I
Yeah,
got
they're
one.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with pins, so these are kind of my thing.
Okay.
So it's
That's
our little
that's
way of
very cool.
saying thank you for supporting us, especially during all of this craziness. Every bottle that you guys have purchased tonight, right now, all of our sales that we're making, it's going straight to our payroll for all of our staff. Because right now, Old Hickory is the only bar that I own that's making income, obviously, with bottle sales, and the Kennedy is closed. So you're
Yeah.
supporting not just Old Hickory, but also the staff at the Kennedy. So
Yeah.
it's very
So,
important. We're very happy.
yeah, and again, you're very humble about this, but again, this makes a real difference what you guys did with these bottles here tonight that we're talking about. Katie has 26 people. I saw this. We did an article about Katie. It was written by Christy Atkinson from my team. It's in Bourbon Zeppelin, which again, if you check out abvnetwork.com, click on the Zeppelin link, you'll see our thing. She's the first article in there. I would encourage you to read more about Katie and her bar and what she's been doing. But she talks about that. And 26 people, they're paying them their full salary plus what they would be getting in tips. Unbelievable to me that you have that sort of commitment to your people. No wonder they love you.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're a family, and I'm not gonna, let them slip backwards just because something's happened to us as a whole. So it's how we're getting by is, everyone that's listening and joining us in that bought a bottle, you guys are making this happen, and we can't thank you enough. So
Yeah. Yeah. And same thing for me. I mean, I thank you for helping out the ABV network, both Katie and everyone that's on here today. I've got about 10 people on my team. It's nobody's full-time job, but it is income that people, rely on. So, I thank everybody for doing that. Katie, we're going to throw it open to some Q&A here in a second. I
yeah.
do want to, while we've got everybody together and everyone's still on mute, we'll get to the questions after that. But for right now, people want to follow the journey. Maybe they haven't been to Old Hickory Whiskey Bar before. What do they need to go if they want to follow along here? Maybe next time when we get back to normal, as we frame this out, they can stop by your place.
Yeah, absolutely. So my bar, Old Hickory Whiskey Bar, it's on all social media platforms, and it's pretty simple to find. It's just Old Hickory Whiskey Bar everywhere. And then if you're interested in what I'm doing behind the scenes, just full warning, there are pictures of my kid and my friends and my food, because that's what I do in my life. But you're happy, or I'd love to have you follow along there too. It's Katie Elizabeth 1821.
Yeah. And again, since so many people don't know me as well, same thing for me. I'm at Steve Akley, Akley, on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. So again, follow me. That'd be great. My company, again, the ABV Network, is available at abvnetwork.com. Everything that we do is out there. We've got about 2,000 podcasts. So we have 12 different podcasts that we do. They're all out there, previous shows. You can get caught up. Maybe you're looking for things to do right now. That's out there. Information about our movies, TV shows. Bourbon Zeppelin or E-Magazine, where Katie was just featured. All that, again, and so much more at abvnetwork.com. With that, if anyone has a question, we don't mind you turning on the sound and asking now, because the formal program is done here. If anyone want to ask Katie or myself, either way.
Katie, what goes into the Old Hickory cocktail other than Buffalo Trace?
So that is, we always use one of our own single barrels of Buffalo Trace. Unless we run out, then we stick with the old classic. But it's basically a build on a perfect Manhattan. So you've got your dry and your sweet vermouths and your bourbon and Angostura bitters. And we actually smoke the glass using hickory planks. And then it's just to me, it's super important that you use the good cherries. So it's Filthy is the brand that we use here. So it's a Filthy cherry as your garnish, and never leave the cherry behind. That's the best part. Yeah. So that's our Old Hickory cocktail. That is our signature drink.
Very cool. And I've been to Katie's place a couple times. I've been to both. The Kennedy wasn't quite open yet when I was down there, because I was in August. It opened in September. I did get to go in there and see it. It's a cool place. I can't wait to go there and have a drink. But yeah, Old Hickory, I've been there a couple times, and it's fantastic. And the selection is unbelievable. And their barrel picks, they're known for that. So Katie's got a great palate. So it's cool that you guys are going to be getting one of those. Any other questions for either of us? All right. Well, gang, thanks.
You have a Garrison. Looks like it's very high proof.
Yes.
Amazing. Is that reminiscent of the Cowboy that they do, based on what you did?
Yeah. So it's 137.1 proof. The Garrison that we selected. It only yielded, I want to say, 24 or 27 bottles. And of course, they used a smaller barrel, but that still is an extremely limited amount. I was not a part of that barrel pick. I had our director of operations and two of our bartenders were in San Antonio for a cocktail conference. And we always go to High Texas. It's about an hour north of San Antonio. We go say hey to everybody at Garrison and just see how it's going, and they just happened to be there. And Donis Todd's their master distiller, and he grabbed my director of operations, who's also my husband. He said, "You guys want to pick a barrel?" And of course, I get the phone call. "Hey, Donis said he's got some really awesome barrels. Do you think we could pick one?" So I pretty much got strong-armed into that one, and I'm not mad about it. It is a very intense bourbon. But yes, to me, it's extremely reminiscent to the cowboy bourbons. It's unfiltered, uncut, comes straight out the barrel, 137.1 proof, and that color is really dark. It's great if you like that stuff, and I do. So.
Okay.
I have the 18 and 19 and 11.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, what they do there is amazing, and I would just love that we got to pick one of the barrels. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
So George is saying he bought one of your Garrison brothers today, so that's cool.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
love
was
the
excited when I saw that order come through, because that's one of my favorite, and a lot of people are weary about a bourbon of that type of proof. I mean, it's hot. But
Yeah.
it's good.
That's an amazing bottle. So I'm anxious to try your pick for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
cool.
I
Yeah.
did see one thing, Steve, I wanted to point out. Chris said that this is the sister barrel to the legendary Rainy Day barrel from Tippins. I'm not sure what that means, but I'd love to hear more about that.
So was it sitting next to it in the warehouse? Is that what they've tracked down?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never heard this before. I don't know what this barrel is, but it sounds really awesome.
Well, you got a group, that is so into this. Yeah. So that's why they want the front label stuff and all that. I mean, they know. As soon as you start talking, they know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. So they said, yeah, right next to it. That is really cool. Okay.
Katie, here's a weird question for you. Didn't you break through the floor one time at Old Turkey Warehouse?
You just had to do that to me, didn't you? Uh-huh. Yes, I did. That was.
I wasn't there. That wouldn't be something you'd expect of me. You.
I'm like, I'm gonna take a sip before I tell this story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up there for the Bourbon Affair that happens every summer. And we're at Wild Turkey, and I think it was just Eddie Russell was with us in that warehouse. And they were pulling straight from the barrel to do tastings, and there was a group, I want to say about 20 of us going through. And Eddie said it clear as day. There's holes in the floors. It's an old Rick house. Please watch your step. I didn't watch my step. I had just gotten my Glencairn filled, and I start walking away to go meet with my group, and sure enough, my whole leg just right through the floor. I mean, it was up to my thigh. It was slightly embarrassing. Luckily, not many people saw it, but the people that did golf clapped me because I didn't spill a drop of the whiskey.
Of course, yeah, you're a professional.
So, I'm a pro. I did not spill a single drop, and I somehow didn't come out with any marks.
Okay.
It was the whiskey gods.
That's why it makes it a great story. Then you didn't get hurt or anything, so
I know
we can have fun.
Now
with
I can say I fell through the floor at Wild Turkey.
Absolutely, I think that's cool. That's cool.
One of my shining moments in my career.
Yeah. Any other questions for Katie?
I know you guys got to have more. I fully expected to get hammered with questions.
Oh, Katie was nervous about this, so yeah.
I was, you guys. I've only done one other whiskey tasting before, and it was here in the bar, and it was on our single barrel selections. We did a whole flight of them, and it was a lot of fun. So I enjoy doing this. I hope you guys are enjoying it too.
Yeah. We definitely appreciate you doing this.
Well, I'm ordering one of those Garrisons. Actually, I'm one who found George's 19. So
that's
I'm
cool.
ordering one right now. You can ship them together and not worry about it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's very cool. I also love the fact that Katie wanted to hold back 10 of these bottles just in case normal turns that she wanted for her inventory for her online store. Well, the demand was so great from this class, she ended up selling out all those too. Everything was gone. So
it's all gone, every bottle.
Cleaned it all out. So there's no more.
Know.
When you guys get your bottles, that's it. So you can't be like, well, this is good. I want one more.
I know it's sad to see it go, but I love it at the same time. It opens up another spot for me to do another barrel pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I see someone did ask when the Knob Creek is coming. So if you're asking about the Knob Creek rye that I mentioned when I did this pick, we already have that. And Steve, if you want to let them know more about that.
Yep. Yeah. So those events are all set up. So that is going to be in May, an event that we're doing. You can check us out at abvnetwork.com. Click on virtual, and it has all the events. And we've got some other ones too. So we got the Knob Creek pick, Weller, but that one's sold out. We're doing a Weller one with Katie. So that one's sold out in, I don't know, 6-7 hours or something crazy. It didn't last long, so that was only 24 bottles, but it went quick. But we've got other ones as well. We just lined up one today for Art of the Spirits out in Colorado, so they do a great job. It's actually get 2 bottles on that one. So we're doing more and more of these. So you want to go out there and check us out again on. So if you just want to go direct, abvnetwork.com/virtual, and it will show you all those. And if you sign up for our email, we will be sending these out each month. So each month we're gonna. And I'm getting ready to hopefully send that out next week, all of them for May. But as they come up, as they get done, I just put them out there and people are buying them already. So like I said, that one for next month is already sold out. So the Weller. So
The
Knob
Weller
Creek is out there. Yeah. The Knob Creek one is out there. It's available for sale, and you can get in on that.
Yeah, so our Knob Creek Rye we have in stock. We also have a Knob Creek Bourbon that's in stock as well. These are all available on our website. We have a Maker's Private Select as well. And then we never sell our Buffalo Trace single barrel, but we are right now with everything that's going on. We have the luxury to do that. We don't normally because it's in our Old Hickory cocktail. So we're actually selling that one. That's an exciting one. But I know Steve mentioned, and I feel as though right now it is the crown jewel in our bar. We do have the Weller Full Proof, and Steve's class is sold out, but we are not sold out of those bottles. They are still available on our website. We just kept the class small. So if that's something that you're interested in, that is still available on Old Hickory's website.
We're getting a bunch of questions through the chat,
Yeah.
so I'll just fire some of these off to you.
Yeah.
Do you know the age of the Knob Creek off the top of your head?
I don't off the top of my head. I could go grab a bottle if you guys want to give me a second. I see it. On
Okay,
the
yeah,
shelf.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'll
can
be
keep
right
it.
back. 1 second.
Yeah, all right. She's off, so yeah, she'll check that out, and then we got a couple more here. Somebody asked for Katie's favorite bourbon. I'll share mine since Katie's not here. My favorite of all time, and I like usually whatever I'm drinking. Actually, I'm one of those people. I've got a big collection, and I just enjoy whatever I've got in my glass at the time. But if you had to narrow it down to one, my all-time favorite bourbon is George T. Stagg from the BTAC collection. That's my all-time favorite. I don't get a lot of it, but when I do, I enjoy it.
It unfortunately doesn't have it on the bottle. I'd have to go back in my notes to see the age on it. But as you can tell, it's the old label too. So we've had this bad boy for a little while. So this is one of the, I like to call it vintage. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, she'll find that out. I'll put that. I can even add that. Let me know, and I'll add it to the description so people can see that. Because they're definitely interested in that. And we'll start promoting that a lot more too. So if you follow me on any of the social media, Facebook, we do a lot of stuff and that. Katie, I was answering a question that was actually asked to you. What's your favorite bourbon? Do you have a favorite bourbon? It's tough,
Y'all
right?
asking me to pick my favorite kid.
Right.
That's tough. I don't really have a favorite bourbon per se, mostly just because, as we all mentioned before, it changes with, the climate, the company, and the occasion. But my one that I always continuously go back to, if I had to pick, is actually Johnny Drum from the Willett Distillery.
Okay.
That's my go-to.
That's your go-to. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I did see someone ask about the makeup of our Maker's Pick. I can grab that bottle. Hey, Darren, want to get me that bottle of Maker's, please? My manager is still here, and I'm putting him to work. See,
He's putting to work, yeah.
Yeah. The Maker's Private Select, please.
Oh, I had a question for me, Katie, while you're doing that. Somebody wanted to know what I thought of the 19 GTS. Some people just bash that one online because it's the lowest proof that they've done. And I agree. I like some of those higher proof ones. Those are my favorites. Flavor wise, I thought it was good. It's one of my ranking towards the bottom, but again, it's still George T. Stagg. At the end of the day, I'm not disappointed with it. What was it, 116 or something? It still is very good bourbon, and I enjoyed it. I've got a bottle, and I'm sipping through that, and I'm not a basher about it. I like when they do the higher proof, but mix it up every once in a while is okay too.
Ben, I hate to see that message. That makes me really sad that you don't like Johnny Drum, but that's okay. We can agree to disagree on that one. There's plenty other things I'm sure we would get along wonderfully on. Real quick to get back to that last question about the makers before we move on to some of the others. So this one, we did one of the Makers 46, and we did 3 of the French Mocha, and then 6 of the Toasted French Spice. So This one I was really proud of too, because Rob Samuels came down to 30A to do a class on this private select with a group of people. I think it was for a wine fest that they did, and he actually requested to use ours as a sample. So that was pretty exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What somebody just asked a question. Oh, buying the bottles. So it's just you go to oldhickorywhiskeybar.com and then you hit shop, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, so when you go on there, it's little sections on the menu, and you can see we have it broken down by category. So
So
you
yeah,
can
the
find
barrel picks is a standalone category.
it
So
is.
yeah,
Yes. Mhm.
yeah. Then you do other, just normal, bottles and stuff like that that you can buy
Mhm.
that aren't necessarily barrel picks, obviously. But so yeah, you've got it. So
Yeah, and then I also, Dave's question, he's asking about when I picked this barrel out of the 10 that were laid out in front of me, he asked about narrowing it down and how did I pick this one out of the group. So when we did that, I tasted them all 10 blind right on the spot, just one right after the other. From that point, I pushed aside 5 that I didn't want, and I broke it down to the 5 I wanted to keep. Tasted all of those, then I broke it down to 3. Then there were 2. And on the final 2, I actually took about a 10 to 15-minute break, and I had them switch them up, so I didn't know what was what anymore. So I did that one, even, I guess you would call it like a second blind. So I
yeah,
didn't know which one was which. And this is the one that I picked, because like I said, I wanted to do it completely blind. I didn't want to know anything about them. I wanted to go just on my palate.
I think that's a great way to do it because I know if you would have known what they are, you end up just, and when it's just you making the decision here, it's not like it's a by committee type of thing. So it's
Yeah.
just it's easy to lock in and hone in on one, and you can never get past that. That
Mhm.
your brain is going to get stuck on that. But then to re-blind taste and have them shuffle them up and do that, I think that was a great way to do it. So to make sure that you're getting the best possible one,
Yeah.
regardless of what your initial take is. So
Oh, for sure. Because even if you're professional at picking this stuff, it's hard to not accidentally get skewed on an age of a barrel or a recipe for sure and for roses. Because some of them are a lot of people collect these things, so sometimes you would just go after something based on the recipe and the age. And while that's super cool, and I'm not knocking people that do that, we need that for sure. But for my bar's overall pick, we wanted something that everybody could taste and know, okay, that's Four Roses, but it's also special because of this reason. So
mhm. Kevin Rose was asking, do you always go to Kentucky to do your barrel picks, or do you ever have them just send you the kits and do it at the bar?
we do both. So I've done a couple of them in Kentucky, but overall, most of them have been here at my bar because we've done a lot of things through Sazerac. And Sazerac always sends their samples. Once you say, we'll take the barrel, we usually have our samples to us within 2 to 4 weeks. And then we only have 15 days to pick after we receive those samples. So the majority of our barrels have come from them. Therefore, the majority of our picks have been done in-house. But I really enjoy doing them that way too, which sounds weird because I get to bring in some of my team here and we get to have a good debate about it. When you go up to Kentucky, you can't bring a lot of people with you, obviously, because it's not cheap to do. But when it's here at home, we get to really
Get
talk
everybody
about
involved.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone gets involved and we talk about why our customers would prefer this barrel over that barrel. And it becomes a really fun debate between everybody. So,
Okay. Who gets more votes in this stuff, you or your husband, Tony?
oh, me. I get the final say. I always get the final say in a barrel. There was one, it was actually, if you were lucky enough to snag our Weller Antique 107 barrel that we
Uh-huh.
had,
I got one. Yeah.
yeah, it is one of my
I love it.
favorite picks we've done. I actually was outvoted and I pulled rank. And now everyone's like, that is the best barrel pick we've done.
That's how you
So,
got to do it. Yeah.
yeah,
You lead them there
absolutely.
and you hope they're making the right decision. But if they don't, you just override them. It doesn't
That's
matter.
the only time I've had to override, to be honest, with that one. And I am not mad that I did on that one because I fought hard and I just decided I'm the boss. I'm going to just make this decision for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to do that stuff.
Hmm.
So,
So Ben asked me if I like bourbon or rye. I am a high rye bourbon drinker. So I guess it's a little bit of both.
yeah. Well, there you
I
go.
like rye in my cocktails, though. I really enjoy putting rye in my Bloody Marys instead of vodka. So.
Okay. Somebody must be shopping your site now. Want to know tasting notes on your Buffalo Trace pick.
Oh, you guys just want it all tonight, huh?
Right.
My tasting notes on it. So funny story about that one. I can't give you tasting notes on that because they picked that barrel when I was pregnant, and obviously I couldn't be a part of that, and I haven't tasted it yet. So that one is kind of weird
It's a
because it was
mystery,
the
right?
only
Yeah.
time I've never tried and gotten to have input in our barrel selection. I couldn't even smell. That was the sick trick of when I first was pregnant, was that the smell of whiskey made me nauseous, and that was the rudest thing that's ever happened to me. So
Really?
I can't give you notes on that one, but I will be trying it soon. I think that's weird that I haven't yet. So thank you for reminding me that I need to get on that.
Yeah. Obviously, you have a great relationship with Buffalo Trace / Sazerac. Having it as your well bourbon, I think, helps a lot. But being able to pick a Weller foolproof barrel is a testament, because they don't give those just to everybody. No, we won't get Bronner started about that. So
I'd
let's
love
keep
to
him
hear
on
that
mute. If
story
he
with
if he
him.
if he unmutes right now, I'll put him right back on mute, because he go on a tear.
Yeah, honestly, that was a big surprise to us that we were able to get that one. Sazerac is one of those companies. It's a power playing company for sure. People like to hate on them sometimes, but if you want it, you got to play the game. And it's not a bad game to have to play, though, because their products are so great. And I don't say that in a kiss ass way. They truly are, and we all know that. Wheatley
Yeah.
vodka is our well vodka, and that's because it's a great product. It's out of all the vodkas that you have to drink, that's one that I'm going to prefer to drink. So for us, we've been extremely lucky. Buffalo Trace was our well bourbon back when nobody drank Buffalo Trace and nobody really knew what it was. So we've been with them since we first opened, and we were just buying Buffalo Trace single barrels, like I mentioned before, for our signature cocktail. And I'm not even sure how many we've picked at this point. But then we were offered to do the Weller 107, the antique, and we thought that was really special. And then this year, they told us we were going to get that Weller foolproof, and we were all obviously over the moon, because I have not even had another Weller foolproof store pick before. I'd only had the foolproof once before that. So getting to do your own selection was really wild and very special. So
Yeah. Kevin.
how much Fireball did we do? Kevin, we don't sell Fireball.
Yeah, Kevin, come on. He's doing his routine now. Now he's
I know,
reduced
but
to go to
it's
his
a
routine.
great question, because that is something that they always joke with us on our rep that sells Sazerac for us. He's always like, get that Fireball in there, get it in. No, we actually don't sell Fireball, but we still are lucky that, I don't know what we would get if we did sell Fireball. Maybe it's worth it, but I don't know. Yeah.
This is a lot of Sazerac and Buffalo Trace for someone who identifies themselves as a quote unquote bean girl. Yeah.
I know.
Ah, you're
Don't let them find out.
Freddie listens, so Freddie will be listening to this. He's going to be shocked. Yeah.
I'm a self-professed Beam girl. I through and through. Jim Beam Distillery puts out some of my favorite products, but that's okay. I got love for everybody. It just happens to be Jim Beam's most. It's okay.
Some big news, some breaking news here for the group, as we still just doing a little talking here. I heard from Freddie Note today, and he's going to do one of these with me. Not a bottle pick one, so it won't be anything where we send a bottle, but just a class, part of our virtual bourbon program. He sent me an email today. I asked him, hey, do you want to do this? I'm doing this. He's like, absolutely. So I got to get that on the schedule, and that will be coming up.
That is so cool.
Next month.
I love Freddie. Fantastic.
He's a great guy.
He's one of the nicest guys out there.
Yeah. Yep.
So someone said that the Weller foolproof, like, it's sold out on our website. We're not sold out. We might have just put a cap on the limit that we had in stock in our store, but we do have more. So I will get to work on that.
Check back again. Yeah.
Like,
sounds like I
hey,
got some more.
Darren, you want to check that?
I can tell you, Katie, I'm buying one right now. George and I decided we're splitting one.
Perfect.
I'm gonna add it to my order, so it's working right now. So
Oh, it is? Okay.
I'm just gonna go ahead and buy it, and I'll just let you figure out shipping with all the 3 bottles.
Yeah, I can do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just ordered 2, so if you wanna throw my 4 roses in with it, that's fine too.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll definitely cross all you guys off and try to make sure we consolidate as much as we can. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, glad to see you guys checking out what she's got. And yeah, that's a cool thing, because the more you sell through the inventory you're holding, like you said, the more that you can go out and get some new ones. So.
Oh, exactly. We've already got our site set. We were planning on going up this summer, but obviously that looks like it's on hold. We were told that barrel picks in Kentucky have been canceled. I'm not sure how the reschedules are going for those, but we will be going up to Kentucky and doing something from the Wild Turkey Distillery.
Okay.
I can't wait. And we're actually going to do something at the Willet Distillery. We're going to pick a Willet barrel.
All right. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're very excited about that one. So I actually became friends with the people at Willet years ago, just over time. Their brand ambassador has been a friend of mine for several years. And then just by happenstance through all of that, two of my former bar managers actually now run the bar at Willet. So Andrew Pope and Jeff Knott, they bartend there, and they just got nominated for Tales of the Cocktail for best new American bar program. So super thrilled for those guys. It's really cool to see them doing things.
Yeah, that is cool. It's got to be rewarding for sure.
Oh yeah, it's so cool to see. I call them my children. They call me mom. To see them go out. If they leave me, I hate when they leave me, and I always joke that they come back because a lot of times they do. But when they do go out and do great things elsewhere too, it means a lot to see them flourish. So, what's my favorite Bookers? Oh, that's really hard. To be honest, that's probably the one I drink the least amount of when it comes to Jim Beam lineup. So I don't really know.
Big man, small batch. That's the one.
Noted. Okay.
Yeah.
I really haven't gotten to play around too much with the different batches they've done. So that's something I'd like to try to focus a little more on. I like Basil Hayden. Their dark rye is like my favorite random thing to drink right now, and has been for a while. The last couple festivals I went to, that was what I would finish my night on, because to me it's like my dessert. I'm a big lover of port though, so for me that's a natural progression for me to move into the dark rye because it's port. So do you do much with craft bourbon? Kevin asked that question. If I could get you to maybe elaborate on that, Kevin, what do you mean, perchance? Because we do have a lot of craft bourbon here. With 700 different SKUs, obviously, it's going to be very,
Is he
maybe
means about the barrel picks or?
Yeah, Katie. Just,
yeah.
I know that that Steve and ABV Network does a lot in promoting craft bourbon, whether that's Neely Family Distillery or Spirits of French Lick or Stumpy Spirits, and then you have other things like Iron Root out in Texas, Driftless Glen up in Wisconsin. Do you do any picks with those groups, or how do you stock any of that in your bar on a regular basis?
I do not have any barrel picks. Garrison Brothers would be the most craft I have of our picks at the moment, followed by What Will Be Will It. When we started the barrel program that we have in place, it was new for us, new for a lot in Pensacola too, surprisingly. We don't have a lot of liquor stores that pick up on the single barrel program. So we were kind of the first ones doing it in our market, and we weren't really sure how that was going to go. So we stuck with more well-known name brands. But now that we are looking at doing these next few ones, we do want to start doing more specialty ones that would be considered craft. I think it's really important to add something different to the market nowadays, and this is not a knock on anybody, but nowadays you can get a lot of store picks of the big brands. It's not that hard to come by a Maker's Private Select anymore. Now, necessarily, is it a good one? That depends, because there's a lot of craftsmanship put into that entire pick. So it does make a difference on who you're buying it from. But that being said, being able to get a barrel from a smaller craft distillery, I think it says a lot, and it's very important to us to recognize smaller companies. So in the future, I would love to do that, and that's something we definitely want to look into. As far as do we have them here? We have a lot of different smaller distilleries represented on our wall, but everything is based state by state, as I'm sure you're well aware of. So for what we can get here in Florida, we get asked a lot if we have X, Y, or Z, and we can't get it yet because Florida is a really big state. So when these smaller distilleries are starting to release, they usually hold off on Florida just because their inventory has to be really large to be able to support a state of our size. So that is kind of a fallback for us. But overall, we do get a lot because we are such a popular state. So
cool.
I hope that was a good answer for you. So
I think that was good. Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
Let's see.
Just a couple of statements. Doesn't look like there's any further questions there. So. Oh, this is the Weller Full Proof or the OWA. Which did you like better?
Hmm.
From Shelby?
Personally, the Antique 107 was just like this honey barrel. Anyone who tried it told us, and I mean, just it was a special, special barrel. I had reps from different distilleries buying that bottle because it was to them such a special, special pick. When we did that pick here for the Antique 107, it was 3 samples, and we will get together and we'll all taste them through, and we won't talk to each other while we're doing our tastings, and then we'll say what our favorite one was and our least favorite, and every single person picked that exact one first. It was the fastest barrel pick I've ever done. It only took us probably 10 minutes. So
Wow.
that one is my overall of all time, my favorite barrel pick, but it's gone. Sadly, I have 1 bottle at my house and it's only like this much left. But then after that would be the Weller Full Proof pick. That is a really special bottle too. I've only gotten to have 1 glass of it. It just came in 2 weeks ago, I think, into the bar. So I've only gotten to enjoy 1 glass outside of picking that barrel, but it's definitely going to be, I think, my second favorite pick that we've done so far. So
that's cool. That's cool. I can't wait to try that one, but I'm going to wait until we're doing the class. So
good.
I'm
It's
going to
going
wait
to
for
be
that.
a fun one. I'm so excited for that one. Yeah.
Barrel experience. What's your favorite in terms of when you're actually on site? Which one do you like best? That's tough too, right?
It is really hard. I got to go with the Makers program, and that's mostly just because of the uniqueness of it. Not to say that anyone else isn't doing the same kind of service, and it's not a wonderful experience, but getting to select and craft your own whiskey pretty much is what it feels like you're doing when you do that. Getting to select the staves, and when you're there, it's like playing chemistry, because they give you samples of the whiskey that has just been aged in just that stave. So you're literally pouring milliliters into a vial and mixing it and making your own product. And it takes a very long time. It's very tedious, but something special about being in that room and getting to play blender, in my opinion, which is an extremely hard job. So right now, not too many people can really compete with that type of experience in the single barrel programs, but that's probably been the most unique one for sure. So I see that Mandy says to come do a new riff pick with
that was
them.
actually to me, I think. I think that was.
Well, I'm like, I want to do that too. Hey, don't make it about you, Steve.
It is your meeting. It is your meeting. Yeah.
No, okay. I actually got a really cool barrel pick sent to me from a friend of mine on Instagram, and it was one that they had done for like Women's History Month, and that was a really exciting bottle, and I got to crack it and have it. It was delicious.
That's cool. I heard the new riff, and again, I haven't done riff yet either. I've done a lot of them, but I have never been to new riff for a barrel pick. I've been to the distillery, but I understand it's really a great program that they've got there, so it's cool. They knock it out of the park.
Yeah, that's on my list for sure. So.
Yeah, cool. Well, everyone, again, thank you so much for joining us. I think it was a fun event. I know I had a good time.
Yeah.
Katie, did you have a good time?
I had a great time. And I honestly, again, I can't thank you guys enough for joining us on this. It's not just, for us, it's not just the fun thing that I get to do and sit here and chat with you guys. You guys are literally paying the employees right now, and you can't even imagine how important that is for us, that you guys are not only getting to take home this great bottle and enjoy it, but you're truly helping people out right now. And we can't thank you enough. So.
And Katie and I are going to partner on some more of these. Obviously, if you've got the Weller ticket already, you're in. No more of those available, but we've got the Knob Creek Rye that is coming up. That'll be in May. And then in June, I think we're going to get back together you've got a Knob Creek Bourbon as well. So we're going to get back together for that one too. So
Sure.
Yeah, that's good stuff. We appreciate you guys. And thanks so much for joining us tonight, everybody. Take care.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.